In that video, we didn't do a comparison. So we're gonna do a comparison today, and we're gonna compare all three things. Hello, I'm Bun. Welcome to the channel. If you're new here, I produce heavy, sludgy music with guitars that are a whole bunch longer for going super low. The longer I do this channel, the more I realize that a ton of folks want to use short guitars. They intentionally want to use short guitars to go super low. Super low guitar tunings on this channel reside between A1 and E1, no higher, no lower. A lot of questions about, can I tune my super short guitar lower, and how can I tune my super short guitar lower? Huge thanks to everybody with us over at Patreon and YouTube memberships. They are the people who produced this episode and many others. If you'd like to get involved in producing future episodes and future music, you can do so in the links down in the description. So the number one answer is just tune down. It doesn't matter if you have a Les Paul or super light strings. First thing to do is tune it down and see how you like it. The second way to get there is with something like a drop, the Digitech drop. There is also the EHX Pitchfork. I'm sure there are others. I did a video about the Digitech drop about 2 years ago. And in that video, I sort of explain what it is and all that kind of stuff. So you can check that out if you need to know what that's all about. In that video, we didn't do a comparison. So we're gonna do a comparison today, and we're gonna compare all three things. Super short guitar tuned way down, the drop, and an actual bass 6 baritone. It's a bass 6. We're going down to E1. We're gonna be using a piece of music from Wetlands, and for two reasons. Number one, Wetlands is in E1 standard, so that's easy. Number two, it's really dirty sounding, and hopefully the dirtiness of it will kind of mask a little bit of the digitalness, the terrible feeling of the drop. The Wetlands tune that we're using is called Decorated. You can find it on my website. For the drop, we're gonna be using the Les Paul into the drop, into the Helix with a Wetlands distorted tone. Then we're gonna go into the Presonus, into Reaper, and no processing in Reaper. And for no drop, we're gonna be using the Les Paul and the SRC6 bridge pickup straight into the Helix Wetlands tone, into the Presonus, into Reaper, no post-processing in Reaper. The format for the comparison is going to be full mix back to back, and then we're gonna do isolated tracks back to back, but we're gonna do it in an A-B format. A track, B track, like isolated track, isolated track. Not gonna say which is which. And then at the end of the video, we'll talk about which is which, and you can decide which one you like more, which one is acceptable, which one is terrible, all that stuff. The full Reaper session and stems and all that kind of stuff are gonna be available on my Patreon and YouTube members sites. And so if you're following in that way, you're gonna get these tracks and you can open up and check them yourself. Les Paul in E1 standard, really low. We're gonna try recording it. It's not good. So let's do the other side. It is drop time, and it doesn't sound good, but maybe it sounds better than tuning down. Not sure. Probably good enough. I usually don't practice the right side. I'm like, it's just the right side, who cares? But moving on to the SRC6. It's interesting, the SRC, it just feels so much bigger. Probably good enough. We're not making Grammy Award-winning tracks here. Right side. I've broken the riff up into smaller sections so that you can hear the differences faster. We're going to go back to back. Each segment is going to be a loop. First, A/B test. Now let's do the same thing with the back half. If there's one thing I have to say is that the playing is just wow. At some point at the end of the video, I'll reveal which parts are which parts. It's not to figure out which one is the best. It's more to figure out if you can make what you have work for you, or if what you're doing isn't working, maybe one of these is kind of more in line with being a solution, solving your problem. None of them are the best. It all depends what you want to do. So I think most folks who are interested in the drop are seeking sort of a shortcut to the baritone thing, a temporary sort of fix. They don't want to commit to a full guitar, or they play a variety of material. Say they do a lot of covers, they just fool around with guitar and they do a lot of covers, and it's a lot of different tunings and they want to bounce around tunings a bunch. My personal takeaway on the drop is it is a short, synthetic, kind of soft tone. It doesn't chug, you know, it has this softness to it that just, ugh. It sounds like a dead dog. instantly different. Some of you are gonna comment on the tone. You're gonna be like, well, that's not the ultimate gent tone. The focus here is more like the sludge and heavy kind of stuff. Thanks again to everybody with me over at Patreon and YouTube memberships. They are the people who produced this episode and many others. Huge thanks to them. If you'd like to get involved in other ways, you can do it through music, merch, and creative assets. For myself, there's a very clear difference between the drop and a baritone or a bass 6. For the A/B testing, the results are A was the drop, B was the tuned down Les Paul, and C was the Ibanez SRC6. Would love to know if you have a drop and what you use it for, or if you got rid of the drop and got a baritone instead. Let me know in the comments down below, but that's it for this one. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope to see you in the next one.